ladies and gentlemen, what a singular honor to be here to watch this great documentary on the great leader that we are. One of my prized possessions that I've had for a number of years is a January 1948 issue of Life magazine, in which there's a portrait of Kai on its front page. And in that portrait, in the course of interview in that magazine, he said, "Mark my words, that Pakistan one day would be the pivot of Asia." As was rightly said by Mr. Khan, that question is still debatable. But I have absolutely no doubt that the decision taken by Qaid way back in 1947 was something which would have its consequences in years to come. Interestingly, as it was also said in this documentary, that at one time there was a question asked to Allama Muhammad Iqbal, that why don't you take up the leadership of All India Muslim League? Why do you want to give it to someone who is very westernized in his habits, in his outlook, in his language, who can't even speak Urdu? But the visionary Allama had the vision. He said, no, only one man who could stand the test of time and who could get us a homeland is Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I'm really happy that today we have some people from the younger generation amongst us, because what Professor and Ambassador Akbar S. Ahmed has done is commendable, because the kind of footage that I've seen in this documentary, I've never seen it first, but I've watched it. But I sincerely hope that young girls and boys sitting amongst us, they will take on the mantle from here. Because there's a narrative that has to be told to the world. Because I've always claimed that we're not God's gift to mankind, but we have our own narrative, we have a story to tell. And I hope people from the next generation will write books on this great leader. Albert's book is one of the classics, and they make documentaries like this. And we have to show it to the wider Western public, to the world, the true face of Pakistan. This morning I was very fortunate that there were some 300 Pakistanis from the Lions Club of Pakistan, and they invited me to their parade. And watching those 300 Pakistanis in white salwar kameez with green waistcoats was a great moment, especially, again, the victory that Pakistan produced in the last World Cup, despite the fact that we have not hosted any cricket in the last 9 years, is reflective of our potential, what the people of Pakistan and this country can produce. So thank you so much for making this opportunity to show this documentary, and I'd be very happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Yes?
Is this film available on internet?
Yes, the documentary should be available on the by internet. In fact, if you go to Ambassador Ahmed's website, you should be able to find it there. And there are also links to the other elements of the Jinnah Quartet, including the book Jinnah, Pakistan and the Search for and Independence: The Search for Salahuddin.
The history is good, but the present will define what Pakistan is. What are we teaching our children in Pakistan? Kids who are here, for them is history. And as the American history experience has taught us, this is not where the Pakistan's story is going to be told. Pakistan's story is going to be told what the Pakistanis do. And what can the diaspora do? I know some of us are building schools there, trying to provide infrastructure there. That is where the true Pakistan potential will be realized. So what is the requirement from official representative of Pakistan from the diaspora?
I'll share you one small incident. There are two physicians in North Dakota. They're both graduates of ISNA Medical College. They came to me 6 months ago. They had been taking bicycle expeditions to Nepal for the last 15 years. And I asked them one question, that you go to Nepal every year and you take a lot of Westerners with you. Why don't you go to Pakistan for a change? Go to the northern areas. And their response was, I heard it from a number of people, even from Pakistani Americans, that number one, it's very unsafe. There's a security concern. And number two, the Goras, the Westerners, would not go. I asked them, just take them once. Only 3 Westerners or Americans went with them this year, and it changed their perspective on the country. Next year, he said he's already signed up around 40 people because they bike from Rawalpindi right up to Funjarat Pass. I think it's very important that you should introduce Pakistan to your neighbors. I believe this travel advisory in Pakistan is the biggest part. It's a non-tariff barrier on the country. And one small thing you can do is, by taking people to Pakistan, what the Pakistani American community is doing commendable. They are building schools, they're building hospitals, they're building expertise. You know, exactly that's what the Chinese American and the Indian American community has done. And I am a strong believer that if you people go back to Pakistan, build institutions like Aga Khan, like a number of new universities, that would be a great initiative. Because it's very important in today's world to make bridges of understanding. And Pakistan has a lot to offer. That's what I say, that Pakistan is not only Pakistan, it is representative of the Indus Valley civilization. It is one of the 4 or 5 regions of the world which have defined the world history over thousands of years. So it's very important, and I encourage again the younger generation that we have a tendency to become doctors and engineers and lawyers. It's about time that our young generation should be main columnists. They should be sitting in the CNN, they should be making movies, they should be in sports. That would really help dispel the negative impression that is about Pakistan. And of course, it's very important if you can, sir, I'll take a question. We have to take them back, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, sir. I want to respond and extend, actually elaborate a little bit. This is a very important question. What I see is that people in Pakistan don't understand the mission and vision of Pakistan. They don't know what it took to create Pakistan. And I think in Pakistan it is not possible to have a dispassionate analysis. Like it is not possible in Pakistan or any other Muslim majority countries to have a dispassionate analysis of Islam. It is therefore necessary, I think, to find a place and an environment where this dispassionate analysis can take place effectively. My humble suggestion is this: create an institute called whatever you like to call it, like Jinnah Institute of Politics, Democracy and Government, India, United States. Have the young Muslim leaders or students come and have training here. Thank you.
And I do appreciate current change. Previously, anybody with an American passport or whatnot, these children could not visit the northern area, could not go to Kashmir without having an NOC. And this was just recently changed, I believe, last month or something. So those are the obstacles that are artificially created, whether that's for national security reasons or whatever. there does need to be a more close collaboration between the Pakistani American civil society organizations that are here and between the consulates. And when Malia Lodi was there, when her successor, about 10 years ago, there was. But 10, 12 years ago, that collaboration has disappeared.
So if I may speak as somebody who was born in Karachi, somebody who has lived in the UK and in the US, and who professionally is a professor of Near East and Asian and Global Studies at Wayne State University in Detroit. One of the things that we are addled with is our history, and perhaps more specifically our inability to be familiar with history. And I find that it is actually rather easy for those who wish to engage in this capacity to educate America and Americans about the vital role that Pakistan has played geopolitically. I think it's very sad that particularly in Pakistan today, that most people see Pakistan in a fairly limited focal range, that it is only seen as a counter-narrative to India. But if one sees from the very inception, as we come into the 71st year of Pakistan's existence, how Pakistan was forged in the crucible of the Cold War. And it's very interesting and it's very important to go ahead and make sure that this narrative is something that is provided to Americans, that America's victory ultimately in the Cold War could not have been a function without Pakistan. And similarly, when Pakistan looks at its own role within the Cold War, it needs to then be self-reflective in understanding that the challenges that it has faced politically, economically, culturally, and in so many different ways, cannot be understood as something that occurred in a vacuum. It cannot be seen as something that is pathologically problematic with Pakistan or Pakistanis, but in fact is very much a function of these broader trends and dynamics. Now that is something that today cannot be explained simply in a 140-character tweet. It takes a certain level of patience, and it takes a certain level of perseverance, and it takes a certain level of intellectual honesty to go ahead and do this. I think the fortunate thing, though, is that the resources are there. It really then becomes a matter that the appetite for that knowledge has to also be provided. But I think that when you are speaking about what the diaspora can do, I think there is ample opportunity for that to occur. We'll take the one more question.
I am 82 and a half.
Sure.
I did my 9th grade in United India, Firozpur. I know the value of Pakistan. I left Pakistan in '61. Took my university, I am a professor of history right here. I still teach. I took in 1974 State University of New York students to Pakistan and Afghanistan on an 8-week trip. Everywhere we were received very warmly. There was no fear of attack, assault, robbery, or anything. The media was very good, political leadership was very good, universities and colleges were very good. Pakistan's fate was turned around by a Western power that invaded Afghanistan and led to the involvement of the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan. Pakistan had to defend itself. We have to know that Soviet Union was not looking at Afghanistan. It was looking for a passage into the war. Pakistan was next. So Pakistan had to get involved. Pakistan turned around after 9/11 when, according to Pervez Musharraf, the US Deputy Secretary of State, I believe his name is Armitage, went there. Pardon me?
Richard Armitage.
Yes. And he said, we'll put you in Stone Age. Pakistan had no choice, and Pakistan turned around upside down. And then Pakistani leaders, after that, couldn't handle the situation. So I believe that all of us Pakistanis are here, whatever we are, is due to Pakistan.
Just a few words. Yes, that's a very good suggestion. In fact, that's what we had suggested, because we have a conference of consul generals and ambassadors twice or thrice a year. And there was a proposal to turn the old Pakistani embassy to something of a Jinnah institute where people can work as something on the cards. As was rightly said by Professor Khan, that three major foreign policies achievements of the US after post-World War. Opening to China, which led to the withdrawal from Vietnam, otherwise it would not have been possible. And the defeat of the Soviet Union was only made possible because of Pakistan. Well, and you know, that's one thing that has to be told. We repeated and told time and again. But of course, that's something which has happened in the past. Now we have to also look into to forge newer links with the US. There should be more trade with the US. In fact, there were more Pakistani students coming to the US before 9/11 than they're coming at present. So there should be more trade. Bilateral trade between two countries is now almost 7 billion, but it has the potential to grow many folds. And these kind of linkages, for instance, today we are sending 114 square feet of skin graft from the US to Pakistan to treat the burn victims of power report. So these are the stories that have to be told and retold. And these linkages have to be created with the people at the business of the US and Pakistan to carry on forward this relationship. Because that's what I always believe. This is an important relationship for Pakistan as well as for the US, because they are two important countries. Because I always said that one of our setbacks is that we are neighbors to two countries which are over 1 billion people. But Pakistan itself is a country of 200 million people, the 6th most populous country. So these are the things that we have to work on. It is an anchor of stability in those four regions. Believe me, as a Pakistani, even I had my strong reservation of what was happening in Pakistan between 2007 and 2011. Now we have reversed the tide. This shows the mettle of the people of Pakistan, that what we can do. So I agree with your suggestions, and I'll be very happy to listen to you and meet you and take this conversation forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency Tirmizi. So we actually, unfortunately, have come to the conclusion of our time. If I may, on closing, and to evoke Jinnah Saab himself, in one of his major speeches at the time of independence, he says that you are free to belong to whatever religion you want, that there will come a time when Hindus will cease to be Hindus and Muslims will cease to be Muslims in the sense of nationalism. I think that to take your point about the diaspora, there will come a time when Pakistani Americans will cease to be Pakistani and cease to be American in the nationalistic sense of the word, and will take their rightful position as citizens of the world when it comes to then reifying the values, the principles, and the visions of Jinnah Saab to serve not only Pakistan, but serve America. I'd like to thank His Excellency Faisal Niaz Tirmizi, as well, of course, my immeasurable appreciation for Ambassador Akbar Ahmed for the contribution that he has made in edifying and educating us and the world about a truly remarkable individual that we can all claim to be one of our own. Assalamu alaikum.